Hello and welcome to the program. I am Soren. Here is an interesting and also an intriguing question. What is the secret of some people we see around us who live long and stay young? I read an article by Jonathan Paker wherein he makes mention of a Dr. Bruce Lipton. I'm sure you have heard of him, whose work on epigenetics. One of his message is state of depression and stress, which weakens your immune system, while happiness strengthens it. Surely, when someone feels good about one's self, he or she radiates on a much higher frequency. Happy people's energies are always different. There is an unusually something charismatic about them. I too will agree that those kind of folk also love themselves. This is not said to indicate something in a selfish way, but genuinely caring for themselves. This kind of love signifies that you are comfortable with who you are, with everything you are, and accepting yourself. You are more at peace with yourself, and there is nothing to change, nothing to remove from you, unlike some other folks who try to change you. Nourishment of yourself with love and compassion is vital, and your physical being will always react accordingly. One of the main things that keep you looking young and healthy is not smoking or consuming excessive alcohol, drinking more water and less tea, and probably even coffee, or the soft drinks laden with sugar, eating healthily good whole foods, and certainly not processed ones. A good night's sleep is important. Being happy and enjoying being alive. Avoiding excess of anything. You have a choice. Whatever you need in life, you must do and have, without worrying about dying young, for instance. Take some stupid risks, if you like, as well. It comes down to luck with some people, if you like. I will call it a chance, which we must have. I suppose we need to include the subject of optimism Generally, when one expects good things will occur, and greater the optimism associated with a number of positive life outcome. And they relate to better mental and physical health. You need to include reduced likelihood of depression, effective immune function, and, more importantly, lower mortality. Emotional intelligence, consisting of adaptive emotional function, may be a foundation for optimism. Here, we can examine this starting by questioning: is there a relationship between emotional intelligence and optimism, as observed across many participants? We know that stress is known to have debilitating and adverse effects on physical health and mental well-being. Community of the chronic stress that we may be surrounded with provide only a service triggering or aggravating several factors for many pathological disorders, and if left unaddressed, being linked to many life-threatening diseases. While many studies have looked at how optimism and pessimism are used as a form of coping mechanism, and if you have examined how different biopsychological relations prove, what are your actions to stress, sleep, the level of optimism and pessimism, which has been reported that individuals aged 18 and older, as in the United States, address to following research questions: what types of stress are predictive of optimism? Which responses to pessimism do we have? Do optimism and pessimism share the same stress related to risk and protective factors? This study shows that optimism and pessimism shared conceptually the very similarities, although they are not necessarily influenced by the same mechanisms. Stress with a personal or financial situation, which is associated with a negative outlook on life, is a study showed that having good sleep quality and lower number of psychological stress symptoms was linked to increasing optimism and reducing pessimism, while overeating or eating unhealthily was connected both to optimism and pessimism. This study for the exercise, or if you like, working and emotional support, mediated the effects of the response to stress on the respondents' level of optimism and passive attitudes. Just think about it. Optimism, is there any individual difference which reflects the extent to which people hold generalist or generalized favorable expectancy is 430 into the future? Higher levels of optimism has been related prospectively to better subjective well-being during times of adversity and difficulty, controlling the previously known well-being as it was. Consistent with such findings, optimism has been linked to our higher levels of engagements with situations, coping, and lower levels of avoidance of engagements. There certainly is an evidence that optimism is related with taking proactive steps to protect one's health, whereas pessimism is associated with health damaging, you heard it right, behaviors. Optimism is also related to indicators of better physical health. The energetic task, focused approach, good, optimistic to goals also relates to negative state if it is in the social, economic world. The evidence suggests that optimism relates to both persistence and educational efforts, and to higher later income. The behavioral patterns of optimists appear to provide models of living for others to learn from them. If and when a human being wants to change something or replace a damaged part, to go about it. If the human has a failing health, he or she would most certainly discover the ways of healing it. Probably at first thinking about it, meditating, and considering the variety of ways on how to do it. The best way, even before, long before, the better ways are discovered. Currently, he knows the best way is to become more positive about. If it can be done, and decide to seek medical assistance, just imagine now, if the human desires to live long and remain young, what would be the best solution? He or she would probably discover that there is an embedded program the human body follows in his DNA system, and which he may have discovered can be altered by thoughts in addition to scientific research. He will most likely to discover that by thoughts he can influence things and outcomes. He or she may even discover that he can or she can, by positive thinking, change the whole program or programming of his life by using the energy of his thoughts. Interestingly, this has been only considered to this day as a mere fantasy. The question is it? In the long run, one tends to ask, is it? Look and see. Be positive. Believe. Trust. And imagine. When a human is willing and even believing in the traditional thinking processes, such as blind faith, for instance, there is nothing to bar him or her achieve his or her goals. Also, in prolonging his life and remain young. This is the alchemy a human is expected to adhere. Yes, a human can prolong his life expectancies, and retain his youth by doing the impossible in the presence of religious bias and the currently explored science. Live long, stay young, and prosper. We will meet you again by the next episode. Until then, keep smiling and be happy. Thank you.